Sometimes when they start moving with crime, some petty crime. And then from petty crime, you move to more advanced crime until you become a big gangster. That will be a big part of curbing the problem life. Creating opportunity. And you can't create opportunity unless you educate them.
60 years of independence. How are we doing as a country?
It's a mixed bag. We have made progress in many areas. I mentioned to someone recently that when we became independent in '62, you have been to funerals that dove that, I mean. Well, in 1962, from you left the flats of Spanish Town, you were traveling on unpaved roads all the way to Ginger Ridge, which is on the border of Clarendon where I was born. So we have made improvements. Infrastructure is certainly one significant area. Despite all the complaints about our health services, we have made improvements there. If you look at mortality, and life expectancy is now 76. Back in 1962, it was 65. Infant mortality has improved significantly. In 1962, it was 57 out of every 1,000 children that were born died. Now that figure is down to a very small number. And in various other areas of national life, if you look at the impact that we have made on the world scene in terms of our music, if you look at our athletes, how they have performed, and the significant impact that they have made on the world. So there are several areas in which we have done well. But we have fallen down in significant areas, for example, in terms of economic growth. Over the last, since independence, and these figures are make the point very, very firmly. Since independence, our economy has grown by 135%. Since independence. 3/4 of that growth was achieved in the first 10 years. So we spent 50 years growing the other quarter. We've made a lot of missteps, we've made a lot of errors in terms of our economic development strategies, and so on. If you look at security and crime, you wouldn't know because you weren't born then. But in 1962, the murder rate was less than 4 per 100,000. Today it is 56 per 100,000. In 1962, we had one of the lowest murder rates in the world. Today we have one of the highest in the world. And then there has been degradation in so many other areas in terms of our values, our behavior, our attitudes, our lack of civility, the ease with which we quarrel and confront, and the difficulty we seem to find in terms of finding some consensus and finding common cause. So it's a mixed bag. I hope that in celebrating our 60th year of independence that we will do some reflection to look to see what made us succeed where we did, what caused us to stumble where we stumbled, to see whether or not we can draw some do's and don'ts for going forward.
That leads me to my next question. How much time do we have to correct some of the ills and the challenges that we would have?
Not a lot of time, because the world is moving at such a rapid pace now compared to 1962. Our prospects for growth change so rapidly. Robots are now doing the work that unskilled labor used to do. Artificial intelligence is even displacing skilled workers. So that technology is changing the world at such a pace that we have to not just catch up, but we have to move at fast rapid in order to to get on top of that and to try and find a path. I believe we have the potential, uh, but that potential has to be developed, which leads me to perhaps our biggest area of failure, and that is in terms of education.
How much of how our education system functions do you believe contributed to where we are now in terms of crime?
A lot, a lot, a lot. The human mind is creative something, when if you can't make it one way, make it another way. And what is now frightening is that in the old days, you didn't do well at school. You have to eat. You're a young man now, you're in your 20s. You have two youth that you get. You have to look after the two youth then. So I have to watch your house, and when I see you gonna work at Gleaner and I know say you don't have nobody at home, I go and broke into your house and take the TV. Because I can flog that TV on the street, get a $2,000 for it, and that $2,000 can look after the two youth. That's not what it's happening now. We talk about high-tech crime. So, when a young man of 21 years old can have a brand new BMW parked up at them gate because they may be able to scam out the hell out of some people, I don't know what opportunity you are going to offer him through education that is going to be able to compete with that. You leave university with a first class degree, you can, by the time you're 23, 24, have no brand new BMW sitting at your gate, right? So that's another problem. But generally, if young people see a path, if they see a horizon of opportunity for which they are equipped, for which they are trained, many of them will pursue it. So many of them who would end up, sometimes when they start with crime, some petty crime. And then from petty crime, you move to more advanced crime until you become a big gangster. That will be a big part of curbing the problem now. Creating opportunity. And you can't create opportunity unless you're educated.
When you read the comments on social media, aside from people going at each other who obviously are steadfast in terms of who they support politically, there are others who say, the politicians are to be blamed. You're a retired politician. Is the criticism fair?
Politicians have their share of blame that they have to bear because we have messed up. If you go back to you look at the kind of economic growth that we were enjoying back in the first 10 years of the independence. We have perhaps, in the pursuit of political advantage, we have divided the people more than they would have been divided. So that we have found it so difficult to find common cause on anything. The last time I saw this country come together in a serious way was when we qualified for the World Cup. I mean, the entire country was all singing from the same hymn, So politicians have their share of the burden, or the share of the blame. But it's not the politicians alone. We're a fractured society. We beat up on each other. As I said before, our inclination, our instinct is to find reason to disagree and quarrel, not to find reasons to come together. And if it's not politics that divides us, it's religion. If it's not religion that divides us, it's our culture, our class. Somehow we need to transcend all of that, and we can, we can. It requires leadership. Put it that way, question not all about that. But even when people say, well, we lack the leadership, it's not just leadership that it requires, it's followership. People must be prepared to be led. And we are such a defiant, rebellious, one might say. Mind you, people are frustrated. Most of the last 6 years, for example, have been marked by people being called upon to make sacrifices. Sacrifice for this, sacrifice for that. This is what we have to do. We have to pay down debt. We get to a stage now where we're suffering from sacrifice fatigue. And to get the people, to inspire them, to mobilize them, to say, well, look, this is the path that we are on now. And this is what we expect to reap at the end of this journey. It's going to require one hell of a effort because people are going to say, well, I've heard that before. But just to give you an idea of just how fractured we are, put 100 people in a room from any walk of life, all walks of life, any level of education, highly educated, fail educated. Give each of them a sheet of paper and say to them, write down in 50 words what you understand to be the national goal and objective of Jamaica. And see what you get now. You get a whole heap of blank paper. And where you get paper that has something written on it, everyone will probably be different. Which is different, it's markedly different from, it's something I've seen done in some countries. And the kids, even at school, whether it is brainwashing or whether it is simply inspiration, they have an idea as to where this country is expected to be in 20 years. They have a vision, have a goal. Where's our money? We have failed to create that. So, and in the absence of that, what happens is that a government, whichever party forms that government, you get up and you announce wonderful plans, and you march off into the future to go and implement those plans. And very often, the vast majority of the people fold their hands and say, well, make a watch and see where you're going. You're not moving yet. So I'm not sure you're going to the right place. If we can't get over that, we're coming from more trouble than learner.
You hear arguments that maybe we shouldn't have, received independence or independence. Maybe we should still be under the British because they seem to be doing fine.
If you wanted to be a Bermuda, if you wanted to be a Cayman, where you get up someday and you say this is what you want to do, and then you get a call from London to just stop your nonsense, don't move. Because we're not allowing you to move. People may argue, well, the quality of life in Bermuda and Cayman and Turks and Caicos and in the Jersey Islands and so on is better than it is here in Jamaica. That is true. But then the quality of life in Singapore is far better than it is in London. So the choice that you're looking at is, do you want to go the way of Bermuda or you want to go the way of Singapore? Independence is not what we are to blame. What we are to blame is what we did, what we made of it.
We're ready.
Huh?
We're ready to
Yeah,
go.
but we were ready, man. We were ready. I mean, give the Norman Manleys and the Bustamantes their due. They prepared us for it. We didn't have to fight on the street. We didn't have to have no rebellion. They argued with the British. In that final delegation, Norman Manley was the premier. He went to London to negotiate the final stages. Bustamante went with him, they worked it out. Remember Norman Manley's charge? Norman Manley, when he gave his final public speech in 1969, he said the mission of my generation was to win political power. Of that mission, I'm proudly able to say mission accomplished. Mission of the next generation is to achieve economic development, economic and social development. As I said before, we have made advancement in several areas certainly in terms of social development. We have gotten rid of a lot of the vestiges of colonialism. Give credit to Michael Manley. I mean, there was a law, for example, that said if your mother and father are married, you had certain rights, but if your mother and father are not married, you don't have those rights. The bastardy law. Michael Manley came and he got rid of that, right? We set up a national insurance scheme, various things. It is in terms of economic development that we have failed. And perhaps because we have failed there, our social environment has deteriorated. Because when people are poor, social mores and values, social stability, social fabric comes under stress. And I mean, we talk about the high murder rate. As a youngster, for example, when you perhaps have that even better, there is a killer. And it was a strange thing, because we weren't accustomed to it. There was a killer who went around killing people named Reagan. And the police hunted him down, and in a shootout he was killed. It occupied the attention of the country for weeks. Because, we're not accustomed to this. Hey, your man, find gun and go around and shoot people. We don't do those things in Jamaica. So, that deterioration thing. Stroke our hands in the air and say, well, boy, can't make it better, no. We can get it right, but it's going to require a new approach. I think there are two areas. One is education, which I've mentioned already. Two, we have achieved a certain level of political maturity. Right? If you look at the nonsense that is going on in America right now, when you compare that with Jamaica's political system, there's a hell of a lot that we can teach them. Who would ever believe that we could teach America about how democracy is supposed to work? But there's more that we need to do. One of the reasons why we were so successful in the first 10 years of independence in terms of economic development is that there was broad consensus between the two political parties as to the economic strategies we were pursuing. Then we lost. In the 70s, Manley scrapped that particular approach and introduced socialism, and the rest is history. We seem to have retrieved some of that consensus building, thinking, and instinct over the last 10, 12 years. The economic program being pursued by the government now is a continuation of what the PAP government was pursuing. And it has worked. It has produced good results. Not the level of growth that we want, but certainly in terms of macroeconomic stability. That something is very precious, and we need to protect it. I'm a little worried sometimes that, we seem to be saying, well, we had a pressure now with COVID and with inflation and so on, so we need to forget about that program and do certain things. We have to be careful that we don't disturb that. In the old days, back in the 60s, we never quarreled about the economic program, We had a big quarrel between the PNP and JLP when Bustamante decided to build the Sandy Gully system. Thank God for that, because that is what prevents the corporate era from being more flooded now than it. They used to quarrel with Michael Manley when he decided to open up. He built a road through the grill to open up 7 miles of white sand beach, and we used to have, JLP were saying this is foolishness because the pure mosquito live there. Well, look at the grill today. We quarreled. There was a hell of a quarrel over the National Stadium with Norman Manley built. That we're wasting money. We should spend that money on the poor. Well, without that stadium, I don't know if we would have had a Usain Bolt or a Shelley and Fraser. Uh, the quarrel over the National Insurance Scheme, PNP bashed the JLP when they established the National Insurance Scheme in 1966. Well, limited though it is, thank God for it, because that's what a lot of poor people depend on to buy 2 pounds of flour and a pound of rice and little cooking oil on Friday. We used to find things to quarrel about, but we were disrupting the economic program because that was producing results and that was critical. We need to find that kind of collaboration. Sure, we have to find things to quarrel about, because we're a democracy. We're a competitive democracy.